Thompson worked continuously for Life and micromanaged 600 consecutive issues of Life magazine. We didn't realize it. Mr. Thompson was a child prodigy, graduated from high school at 15, college at 19, could identify all the great masters in the art world by the time he was 3 or 4 years old, had an uncanny ability, according to his wife, to pick the photo that would go on the cover of Life magazine for the best effect and therefore the best sales. So I'm interviewing his wife, and I'm thinking, if anybody had a copy, like I started to say a few minutes ago, if anybody would get a copy of the original Zapruder film, it would be an editor of Life magazine. So, shoot, she just may give it to me. Well, my wife, who's in the audience, I called her up from Manhattan, and I said, interview's been set back for a couple of days, but, it's still going to happen. She says, well, you're not going to get the Zapruder film, but you're going to get something you don't expect. To this day, she cannot explain where she came up with that. During the interview, Mr. Thompson's wife says, do you want to see Mr. Thompson's retirement party roast video? Sure, we put it on. It shows his childhood. It shows his career at Life magazine, and at one point, 11 minutes into the film, it says, Ed has finally arrived. He's hobnobbing with the president. It shows him walking down the street with Truman, but he'd much prefer hobnailing willing subordinates, whatever that means. And at that point, there are 3 what sound like loud gunshots superimposed on his retirement tape, which is narrated by Life magazine executives and so on. I turned to her and I said, what was that? She very serenely looked straight ahead. The more I think about it, she was trying to tell me something. She says, I don't know. Well, she was there. I said, can I record that? Sure. I get up, set up the tape recorder. She walks over next to me. She pulls another video out of a stack and says, oh, here's a duplicate. You can have it. Now, whether or not Life magazine decided to cryptically tell the American people that they were involved in a cover-up, and maybe the executive of their magazine was, is a stretch, but the more I think about it, she was trying to tell me something. And by the way, Mr. Thompson graduated from UND in 1927, editor of the Dakota Student, would make trips when the paper was ready to be printed from the trolley over by the North Dakota Museum of Art to East Grand Forks to get it printed, and then take the train back tonight, 1928-29. In 1958, UND gave him an honorary doctorate, and he passed away in 1995. When the Warren Commission asked him for the original negatives from the backyard photo with Oswald holding the rifle, he refused to turn over the negatives until the Warren Commission, the third, fourth time, saying we need them. He finally coughed it up and said, well, I just airbrushed the butt of the rifle here and there and around his pants a little bit. Almost sounds like a limited hangout.